What is up, everyone? Today we have a Craftsman with a Honda GCV160 on it that I know nothing about. The owner picked this up at a property that he bought to rent out, and he needs a mower for that said property, so he wanted to see if this was worth fixing or not. So he knows nothing, I know nothing, you know nothing, we'll find it out together. Let's go ahead and take the usual. I will stop at this point to say that what I have done is I've checked the cables and I pulled on it a little bit. The problem is the cables are a little stuck. So there's that. But other than that, that's all I know. That was mainly just because that's a habit of mine whenever I push it up on the bench. It has oil. It's not horrendous. It's not new, but... Well, hold on there. Over 90% of you, according to YouTube, are not currently subscribed. You're watching this video, but you're currently not subscribed. So I'm going to welcome you to subscribe at the end if this helped you out. I work in a lot of machines, so maybe the machine you're watching is going to be something you own, but who knows? Maybe you own a generator, a pressure washer, a big mower, a chainsaw, a variety of things. The only way to know if I'm going to fix it in the future is by subscribing, and maybe I get to the one that you own and can help you out then too. So I welcome you to subscribe, put a thumbs up if it does help you out. Back to your normal video. If it were to run for a few extra days, no problem with there. Does it have fuel? I kind of hope not. Oh, that's not good. It's in the on position, and there is fuel. Let's see what it smells like. Doesn't smell good, that's what it smells like. Well, what do we do? I think there's a choke lever right there. It is kind of stuck in the choke position, so I'm thinking this could be a little bit of a problem, but I'm going to give it a pull just to see if there's any compression, and maybe we'll start. Who knows? If it doesn't, we'll turn the choke all the way off, and we'll just throw some cleaner or spray or something down the throat and see if it's even worth continuing. So choke, ooh, that doesn't feel good at all. Oh, there we go. Have it put on choke. It was a little crunchy, but got it done. Let's take a look. Now the cables do work. They're just not happy. The choke lever should be moving, but I don't see it moving. Looks like we have a recoil that doesn't like to do its one and only job. Feels really sticky here. So we definitely have a problem with this choke. We're just going to turn the choke off. Oh, that filter is wet. It's been inside of a garage for like a day too, so that's not good. I think there's something definitely wrong with that choke mechanism, because the choke lever is still closed. Let's open it up a little bit. It could just be sticky. Maybe the plate for the choke is just stuck. Don't know. A little something something. Let's give it a pull now. Okay, well, that works. So we have what sounds like a good motor. Oil's good, everything else is good. So we should be good to go to continue. I need to check if I have that fuel valve. If not, I need to order a new one. Here's a tip on the fuel valve. That fits right here. You still see the other piece. Now you can get aftermarket ones. Don't get them. They'll work when you first get them, but like a year later, I swear, it's like to the day, they have an expiration on them. They'll start leaking. Fuel valves are one of the things that you do not want to buy aftermarket. Just don't do it. If you do, make sure you get a lot of them because you'll be needing a lot of them. Let us go ahead and take off the carburetor. So we're going to need a 10 millimeter. For this particular one, we have 3 screws. There's a short one right here, and then 2 long ones. And because we're kind of questioning the choke lever, I'm going to take off the top. All you have to do to take off the top is to remove the 3 10 millimeters for the recoil, and the whole thing just pops right off. Now, let's take these out. Usually the breather is going to give us a hard time. This is of no exception. Take a pair of pliers and just kind of gently pull this off. Wow, this is on there. There we go. That breather was just on this little section on the cover. So now that we have that done, let's see what this does. Well, it works. Let's see if, when I pull on the cable, if it disengages it. Does not appear like it is. That could very well just be because it's not being engaged enough. Yeah, it's not. Okay. So we either need to lubricate that cable, or we're gonna have to get a new one. The owner, I know for a fact, is trying to keep this on cheap. So after calling him about the broken fuel valve, he asked if we could use the aftermarket one after I explained to him no. And we're going to be using an aftermarket one. So, yeah. To make it easier, we're just going to remove this plate. It's going to give us full access to the carb. That way we don't have to worry about anything. The spring for the governor is going to be on there, so be careful. Now, technically this is still on, so let's turn that off. And we're going to get a different set of fuel pliers. And we're going to take off the fuel line. I generally am not a fan of these Honda clips. They're really hard to get into sometimes, especially when they're dirty. And right now is no exception. Sometimes if you twist it though, like so, you can kind of get good access. Yep, nope, they're super dirty, so I'm going to get them cleaned up so we can take it off a little easier. Okay, got that done. To break the seal on the line, twist it up a little bit. That will assist you with taking it off, because we're going to try to not damage this, because it doesn't appear like it's a bad fuel line. I would rather not have to replace it. Yeah, there we go. That's why I like these pliers. They don't really put like a lot of pressure on one spot. A little bit's gonna drip out because that's what's in the line. That's fine. But those pliers really do make a big difference. Now, it's gonna take this off. Of course, it's gonna leak. But we now have our carb. I'm gonna get that cleaned up off camera. If you want to see a carb cleaning video, then feel free to go ahead and watch that one. I have I will be doing one on that exact carb, but the main purpose of this video is trying to figure out what we can do with these cables. Now, here's the problem. Cables like this do two things that kind of kill them. One of them is premature killing. They stretch. They actually come with a pre-built-in stretch mechanism that you can adjust to eliminate that stretch and not eliminate, but make sure it's not a big problem. We'll just put it that way. I'll show you that. The second one is going to be the one that actually does kill it, and that's going to be rust. There's quite a bit of rust in there, but I'm going to disconnect the handle so we have nothing on the top, and that's going to allow us to move it freely. I'm going to get this pulled out and we'll take a look at it a little thoroughly. Now that it's done, let's see if this moves. It does move, so it's not super bad. Actually, it doesn't feel all that bad. The top of this cable has no rust, dirt, anything. When you do that, though, you want to make sure you're careful. You don't want to break one of the little strands, and then you did ruin your cable. Let's pull it all the way we can. So as we can see, this doesn't even seem like it could be rust, actually. It kind of feels more like dirt. But what we are going to do is we are going to take some WD-40. Now, this cable is not really going to be too helpful, but they do make cable oilers that, if you have that specific type, could be useful. The type it would be more of like a straight end, or excuse me, the plastic piece right here doesn't clip in. That's the one that you're going to want to do that to. There we go. I had to get it loosened. So now that moves actually pretty well. I'm going to do the same thing to the top after we're done, but you don't need to over lubricate it, just enough so it gets lubricated. Now we're going to take the cable off, and this is something that, like I said, can kill a cable prematurely, because cables stretch over time. Everything stretches. Leave the jokes alone. But if you're unaware of how to remove that, there's these two prongs you just compress. But let's go ahead and zoom in so we can kind of get a better look at this. Now, not all cables have this, but a lot of times if you twist it, they will actually kind of unscrew. You see that mark? That was not there before. Hopefully you can see that mark. That was not there before. See how it's getting bigger and farther away? This will adjust for the stretch in the cable. It's almost always on this end. I've personally never seen on the other end. Maybe they exist, but I doubt it. It's this connector that will twist and allow you to kind of adjust it. And that, my YouTube friends, is going to hopefully fix our choke problem. So I'm going to get that reconnected to the bail, oil up the other end just to make sure, and then we will see if that choke comes off, and if so, then we kind of fix that problem. This is the position the choke is in when you are mowing. Everything's good. This whole piece just kind of closes the choke when you move the lever over. Now, when you move the lever over, you see that piece moved. That is now engaging the choke. That's technically locked into place until you pull the handle, and then what will end up happening is this will start to move until eventually it gets to the off position, and this should go back in. Let's give it a pull. Well, pull down the bail. I can't quite tell. Either just moving up there. No, it's moving. You get a better view than I do. That's a little slow in my book, but it is moving. And the fact that the engine's not running has a pretty big role in it as well. And the choke is springed, or does have a spring on it, so that spring is responsible for pushing that back. So I'm pretty sure we are good to go. And what I mean by springed is this. See how it's naturally open? When you pull this, if I were to let go of it, it's going to go back open. Because that spring, its default setting is open. That spring is powerful enough to move this back. So the choke appears to be working fine. I think now I'm just going to put the carb back on after it's cleaned. Check out that carb cleaning video if you want to figure out how to clean a Honda carb. But other than that, I think we are ready to go. Going to explain a couple things about the cables. When is an appropriate time to do what I just did with the cable, and when should you replace it? If at any point in time you look at the cable and you see broken pieces sticking out, garbage. Don't even bother. You'll just be going down the road of agony. Don't do that. If it's super locked up or it's super dirty, don't do that. Yet again, you can get it freed up today, but tomorrow, nope. It's just going to be the exact same. You're going to be constantly fighting that cable. This one still was moving. It was a little crunchy. Need a little lubrication on both ends, but now it seems super loose. I don't feel any crunchiness, and that it seems to be working just fine. So if you are in that position, go right ahead, do this. Now, am I saying that this is the best idea and you should always do that? No, definitely not. This is just to extend the life of your cable. If technically the best solution for this is to purchase a new cable, but given the situation the owner's in, I'm not going to force that. If you know the consequences and not buying a new one, or explain the consequences, then, go about your own business. But in general, this will not work if it's rusty or dirty. We got lucky today, but if for any reason when you pull down a bail and the cable itself seems fine, but it seems like it's not moving as much as it used to, or it has a lot of slack in here when it's not in use, then that means this cable stretched, which is normal. Just undo that a little bit, give it a little extra room, tighten it up, and when you pull, this should actually completely disengage, your kill should work, all of it should go back to normal. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, then let me know in the comments below. And there we have it. Carb is now on. Everything should be good to go. I have new fuel, which is an important thing. I drained this fuel from the tank. I don't know if you can tell, but a lot of that's water. About inch, 3/4 of an inch. The bottom is straight water. Now if you were to just smell the tank, you can tell it's old, but would still be usable if there wasn't water in it. But there was water. So always make sure to drain your tank. Unless you're 100% positive, just drain your tank. Or if you even don't have any fuel, then you don't have to worry about it. But I also put a new air filter in there. Should be good to go. And just make sure that everyone understands why I'm saying water is a bad thing. Water doesn't go through the jetting. The surface tension is too high, so it will just sit there and get plugged. Water in this type of carburetor will just suffocate the fuel flow. That's why. We're going to turn on the choke. Now with this style of choke, it can take a moment or two to disengage, so it might chug, but it should be turning off within 10 to 15 seconds. Hopefully 10, less than the 15. That was weird. Not 100% sure why it backfired, but it works. So your carb is now clean. Everything should be ready to go. Don't have to worry about anything, at least in this aspect of it. But if you did have water in there or debris, you're going to have to clean it again. So make sure that you don't only just clean the carb, but you clean the whole fuel system. Or replace the lines if that makes you feel better. I didn't need to, so it's fine. And other than that, we are good to go. This is how you clean a Honda GCV160 carb or GCV190 or the GX series, just with a little bit of a modification for the fuel inlet for that one. It's basically exactly the same, however, but the key thing is you don't have to have any special equipment. Anything going to the local auto repair store will suffice. If you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. Catch you in the next video. Have a good night.